How's it going? Welcome to the Guitar Effect. My name's Rob. In this video I'm going to take a look at a new guitar I have, my Burny Les Paul. But before I do, I'll ask you to please like and subscribe. So here it is, the Burny RLG 60p. Basically this is like a 55, I think, Les Paul. So it's a P90 equipped. Actually, I think that would have had a wraparound tailpiece. This has a tune-o-matic and stop tail. So this is basically a regular Goldtop Les Paul, but instead of humbuckers, it has P90 pickups. It has 2 volumes and 2 tones and a 3-way selector switch. So what this is basically a Les Paul copy. I paid €600 for this in my local music store. I actually traded one of my Gretches against it. It's because I'm playing in a new band where we're playing the music of the early noughties, like a tribute thing, and that band, we do a lot of strokes, and I wanted a P90 guitar because I do the Nick Valenci parts. So I tried a lot of different things. I actually went in to buy the Gretsch Jet that's out at the moment that had P90s, plugged it in, thought it sounded good, and then plugged this in, thought this sounded absolutely perfect for what I was looking for. Now, I want to talk a little bit for a second about mid-price guitars, because that's what this is. This is €600 in Ireland, so it's probably on the lower end of mid-price guitars. 600, 650, something like that. I'm not entirely certain because it was trade involved. It's a beautiful looking guitar. It has a very Gibson-esque look about it, like the headstock. I'll just stick the headstock in the camera here. The headstock is very, very Gibson-esque, like this, the name, the way Burny have written the name, which has been like that forever. And the way the Les Paul is written, the green or yellowish kind of ivory tuning pegs, and then the obviously the gold finish and stuff. It's very 50s Les Paul-esque, and it's purposely very Gibson-like, more Gibson-like than an Epiphone or Sire or a Vintage or anything like that. So I really like that about it. I'm not saying that I'm trying to get it to look like a Gibson or anything like that. It's what appeals to me. But also, I've tried a good few P90 guitars, and a lot of them tend to have over-exaggerated low mids and not enough top end. When I picked up this guitar, the first thing I thought of, well, that's really light for a Les Paul, and it really is very light. I don't know what weight it is, but it's very, very, very light compared to my Orville, which is my main Les Paul, which is the other guitar I'll be using for that band, which is like at least a third heavier than this. It's really light. I also think, it might be slightly thin. I'm not entirely certain, but it seems like it's a little bit thinner than my Orville at least. Now, it's a mid-price guitar and there are issues with it, which is disappointing. There's no finish issues or blemishes or anything like that. That's all perfect. It's finished off really, really well. But there's some, probably to be fair, some setup issues. The first thing is there's an issue with the volume and tone controls on the middle pickup setting. As in when you turn the neck volume off, it kills the sound, and the bridge volume has no effect, which is entirely wrong, and I'm annoyed about that. Also, it's very, very, very hard to keep in tune, and the G string has that clicking thing on the machine here, where clearly the G string is catching somewhere either in the nut or on the bridge. Again, it's super annoying. I don't really expect that on a €600 guitar. It's made in China, by the way. These were obviously Burny were one of the 70s, 80s, 90s lawsuit Japanese brands that put out Gibson, identical Gibsons basically, and the one I have is an Orville, which was actually licensed by Gibson, but Burny, Greco, Ibanez, loads of the Japanese firms in the 70s, 80s and 90s made amazing copies, and this is like a modern recreation of that. All in all, I'm really happy with the potential that this guitar has. The pickups sound great, the knobs, when it's wired correctly, they have great pots in them, they're not on off, they're really gradual, really usable. The neck is really nice and playable. The frets are not the tightest I've ever seen, but it's not uncomfortable, and they're polished reasonably well. I may replace the machine heads. I'll have to see whether the machine heads are the problem, or whether on that G-string, or whether the G-string is actually catching somewhere. It feels like an Epiphone, or it feels like a Sire, or it feels like a vintage, JHS vintage. It doesn't feel like, my Orville or the other Telecaster I have, the thin line one from the 90s from actual Japan. It feels like an Epiphone. And I'm fine with that. For the price I paid, I think that's acceptable. But I do think that some of the bugs are a bit unacceptable. I'm a bit annoyed about them, especially that volume pot thing. So yeah, what I'm going to do now is stick some pictures up on the screen and give you the exact specs. So here you go. Okay, so starting with the body, obviously it's a Les Paul, so it's mahogany back with a maple cap. The maple cap is 15mm and the body is 45mm. There are two P90 pickups. There doesn't say what brand they are. I'm presuming they're Burny Fernandez original. There's two volume, two tone controls and a three-way toggle switch. There is a original Fernandez Tunematic bridge and a stock bar tailpiece. So on to the neck. The neck is mahogany, and there's a 14-inch radius on the fretboard, which is Laurel, 22 frets. It's a set neck construction, obviously, because it's a Les Paul. The nut is made of a material called resinoid, and it's 43mm. There are Fernandez original type Clusen tuners on the headstock. Okay, so that's the description and stuff of the RLG 60P by Burny. I keep saying Burnley. Burny. So let's have a listen to it now. Okay, so the demo of the Burny, I'm coming out of the Burny with this X5 radio lead, which by the way, I've never made a video about or anything, but I use it for all my demos here, and I use it every time I'm playing live. I think I got it for like €60 second hand, and it's a brilliant piece of kit, never let me down in any way, shape or form. Battery lasts ages, range is great. It's just a Chinese built radio lead, like they're done by loads of different brands, and it just works really, really well. And then I'm coming out of that into the Love Pedal Amp 11, which is going into the Revolt from Two Notes, which is a all tube analog amp sim. I'm just using the standard XLR out, no IOs or anything, all analog into a channel on my Scarlett 6i6 for my Focusrite, right? So, starting with clean sound. So, the bridge pickup. So, this is what I love about this guitar, is its articulation, like, compared to a humbucker. Now, you can hear this guitar is slightly out of tune. As I mentioned in the intro, this guitar is definitely not without its problems. The G string, I'll come back to the tones in a second, but this is really important. The G string has like one of those clicking things going on when you try to tune it, like it moves and then clicks, which means it's either catching on the bridge here or it's catching in the nut, which is really annoying. I haven't changed the strings yet. I haven't lowered the action. The action's significantly high, and I think the neck needs to be straightened. And these are the kind of things I'm talking about. They're set up things, to be fair. They're not necessarily inherent to the guitar. But the G string clicking is definitely a non-high-end guitar thing, as in it's just not been finished well enough. The fret ends, I mean, the fret ends are there. Like there are fret ends. It's not unbelievably smooth. The frets themselves, I'm not an expert on this kind of thing. They don't seem gritty or anything. But anyway, the tuning stability and the clicking of the machine heads when you're turning the G string is a real problem. And as a result, it's quite a hard guitar to get in tune. I'm just going to tune it now. I'll show you what I mean, right? So the E is fine. The B, tiny little bit flat. Now, the G. You'll hear this click. Hear it? It's close enough. But that G, that click happens right between when it's too flat and when it's too sharp. It's unbelievably frustrating. I have the same problem with my Orville. And I've changed the heads on that. I've filed the nut. It's only really a problem on this guitar on the G string. I also think it needs to be intonated. Okay, so the clean sound. Bridge pickup. Got body but articulation. Middle setting. Middle setting is kind of similar. It has body but articulation on the neck. So I never really play that clean. That's what the amp 11 is here for. So this is what my clean sound will be. Lovely, lovely sound. Again, that thing of bottom end but with articulation and low mids. Now, I did that, and I guarantee you this G string's gone out of tune, which is obviously a massive problem. Yeah, it's gone well flat. There's that clicking again. That is going to require a significant amount of attention that I wouldn't expect to have to give a guitar that's €600. So that's the bridge pickup, the middle setting. This is the thing about P90s. I loved it. The P90s in this guitar are fantastic. I don't know what brand they are. I don't care. They just are exactly what I want P90s to sound like. They have loads of top end articulation and loads of low mids. Actually, not too much low mid, which was the problem with a lot of the other P90 guitars I have. Even the Revstar could be a little brighter. So that's the bridge, middle, and here's the neck. Dynamics of it. And again, you've got that P90 thing where it's like tacky, but also kind of round. P90s are great if you get the right ones. Again, I have to tune, excuse me. Okay, so that's the clean sounds, but where this guitar really starts to come into the zone is crunch. And like, I bought it for that, as I mentioned in the intro, that Naughties band where there's a lot of crunch sounds. It's just brilliant to them. Fantastic. Bloody tuning it. It does these sounds. Let's turn off that amp 11. It does these sounds so well. bridge pickup, middle setting. Again with the tuning issue. Yeah, so middle setting for that kind of strokesy kind of. So what this has in that middle position that a humbucker doesn't have is it has that kind of hollowed out, very mid-range, and it has loads of top end. Tuning problems a nightmare. Oh. And the neck pickup, right? So what's cool about the neck pickup is you can actually play rhythm stuff in the neck pickup. Really great guitar. Add a pedal to that. Gorgeous. So, as you can see, it handles crunch really well, and then into kind of more heavy stuff, it does a great job too. Don't play that song on a guitar that's not perfectly in tune. So, as you can see, right, sonically, this is exactly what I wanted. It's got loads of articulation. It's got all the right frequencies in the right places. Oh yeah, the other thing I haven't covered that I'll just show really quickly on the Dirty channel is the knobs. The pots are really good. So the volume pot is not an on-off thing, it's a very gradual thing. Same applies for the tone. And same on the neck. One thing that is really annoying, if I go to the middle setting, this doesn't do the twin pickup volume thing. There's something wrong with the wiring, I think. If I lower the neck volume, it turns it off. Nothing happens when I do the bridge volume, except the sound is definitely different. See, nothing. It's really annoying that on a guitar. If it was like a low-end Epiphone or a low-end vintage or something like that, I would expect, not expect, but I wouldn't be surprised and stuff like this. This isn't a low-end guitar, it's a mid-range guitar, and that shouldn't be happening. Like, you know, those controls should all work perfect. But like I said, all that can be fixed, and I think it sounds great. And to be honest, it's a little thing, but it looks the same shape as a Gibson, and it's got like a similar headstock and similar graphics to a Gibson, but it's not a Gibson. It's not saying it's a Gibson. It just has a very Gibson-esque look about it. It does not handle, feel, or play like a Gibson, but it handle, feels, and plays like an Epiphone, 100%. And it's a similar price for an Epiphone. So yeah, there you go. So there you go. If you're looking for a, you know, mid-price Les Paul, I would take a look at one of these. I would specifically take a look at the one that has P90s in it, if you're looking for a P90 guitar, because I found that this has the P90 sound that specifically I was after. That might be for everyone. People might want a more muddy, more low-end, less clarity thing off P90s. They may well want that. That's not what I wanted out of this guitar. I wanted it to be bright and spanky, and it really is that. Really does have that Telecaster on steroids thing going on. I also think it looks absolutely gorgeous, right? Like I said, the finish is flawless, and I really love this Gibson-esque vibe off it. Really, really cool. I think it's good for the money, but there's some flaws with it in terms of the way it was finished, I would say, set up. That's all remediable, you know. Just it was going to take some attention. So yeah, the Burny RLG 60p in vintage gold. Really good choice if you're looking for a P90 guitar. So if you've watched this far, as always, I said thanks. If you have any questions about the guitar, throw them in the comment section below. And if you have watched this far and you've enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. It helps the channel out massively. And I guess I'll see you in another video again soon. Take it easy. Bye-bye.